Jacob Allen officially chooses his replacement, and we'll tell you who else was up for that job, plus Landon Crawley's new gig, Outlaws at Pevely, Illini 100, and we'll talk about whether unsanctioned races are good or bad for racetracks. Let's go. It's Thursday, April 10th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you spend any amount of time at the racetrack, it's important to protect your hearing, and I'm a big fan of the premium earplugs from EARGASM. They're pretty small. They look like this, if I can get my finger on it. And, you know, they fit right into your ear, and they even send you like a cool little case that you can put on your keyring to keep them with you all the time. But the good thing is you can wear them for the protection, but still be able to have a conversation with the people around you. I wear these when the NHRA comes to Charlotte, for example, and they are great for even the top fuel and the funny cars on track. I will warn you, though, they are pricey, but I'm going to help you out with the price. If you use code DIRTRACKR10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order at eargasm.com. That's code DIRTRACKR10 at checkout for 10% off over at eargasm.com. We'll kick this final show of the week off with a few silly season updates first, and this should come as no surprise if you're a regular around here, but Jacob Allen did indeed officially announce yesterday that Kel Thomas is the new driver of the Shark Racing 1A machine. The new pairing will make their debut this weekend against the World of Outlaws at Pevely. I know a lot of folks threw out names for possible replacements for Jacob after his retirement, and Zeb Wise was one that popped up a lot of places. Jeremy Elliott at SprintCarUnlimited.com did report that Zeb was a finalist for the ride and that he was called. There was conversations, but the team chose to go with Thomas instead. It seems like anyone involved in and around sprint car media these days gets asked pretty regularly about Zeb's status, and I understand it's crazy to think that a driver who was the All-Star champion less than 2 years ago is still without a ride. I know there have been attempts to get Zeb from several different teams, but it's clear he's waiting for the right opportunity. I do think this ride with Shark and Jacob could have been that right chance, but I also don't hate this for Kel Thomas. Let's not forget he won 8 times a year ago in Ohio. He's got a win on his resume with the All-Stars and top 10s against the Outlaws. Do I expect him to go out and run top 5 this weekend at Pevely? No, of course not. But this will be a good opportunity to race a lot across different series and parts of the country. Jacob had originally planned a very aggressive schedule, which you can see right here on the screen. This was the original schedule he put out at the beginning of the season. And I would bet that a slate of races very similar to this will still be the plan. I was told previously that Thomas and the 1A were going to actually debut in Central PA this weekend, but the weather there seems to have changed their minds. Going forward, I think we're going to see that 1A machine a lot, whether that's with the Outlaws, High Limit, Central PA, other regional stuff. As for what's possible this weekend, Thomas hasn't raced at Pevely with the Outlaws since 2021, but over his previous 12 starts there, made 10 features with a best finish of 8th in 2018. On the Landon Crawley front, he departed the Michael Dutcher 17 GP car earlier this week, and he wasn't off the market for very long. And to be fair, I think it's actually clear the next deal was lined up for Crawley here before they even made the decision to quit Dutcher's team. I kind of doubt that he quit Dutcher's team and then got the call for this next deal in between. But as of this morning, Crawley is joining Johnny Herrera's 45X team, with that squad moving on from driver Jace Park. Herrera and Park joined up for the 2024 season, making appearances across the Outlaws, High Limit, Power Eye, and more. Just 7 top 10s, though, in 49 starts, with a best finish of 2nd that came on night 2 at the Hockett in September. Through 4 Outlaw shows in 2025, Park made 3 features with a best run of 20th at Cotton Bowl. Crawley in the 45X will be another team debuting this weekend at Pevely against the Outlaws. And since we're talking about them, it has been a hot second since we saw the World of Outlaws sprint cars because of obviously a lot of weather cancellations. The last completed race night was back on March 28th at Lawton Speedway. If you've somehow forgotten or you need a quick reset, David Gravel, the current championship leader, Carson Macedo trails by 78 points. Logan Schuchart is 88 back. Buddy Kofoid and Sheldon Hodenshield, the rest of the top 5, they have been surging as of late as well. Gravel leads all drivers with 5 wins, and others with at least 1 victory this season include Kofoid, Kyle Larson, Gio Scelzi, Carson Macedo, Christopher Bell, and Bill Baylog. Gravel leads in top 5s and top 10s. He's got an insane average finish right now at 2.3, and that top 10 and top 5 streak, they just keep getting longer and longer. Pevely, though, hadn't typically been a super strong track for Gravel. He had led laps there in the past and picked up some good finishes, but he did win in the spring there last year, so maybe we shouldn't completely count him out. Other recent winners at Pevely include Larson, Donnie Schott, Spencer Bayston, and Brad Sweet. With high limit off and weather affecting some other parts of the country, we should have a big field Friday and Saturday. It's very possible we get across 50 cars between the full-time outlaw teams and all the others that are coming into race. There are a few high limit teams expected. Not all of them. I kind of expected we'd see a few more, but those expected to race include Aaron Reitzel, Rico Abreu, Justin Peck, Spencer Basin, and Danny Sams. Other guys coming in include Danny Dietrich, Chase Dietz, Brian Brown, Brady Bacon, and Kerry Madsen. So there's going to be no lack of cars and no lack of talented drivers at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 this weekend. I usually avoid saying it because it's like the longest track name in the country. I'll usually just shorten it to Pevely. Elsewhere this weekend, there is a lot of other open wheel racing coming up. That includes the USAC National Sprint Cars there at Lincoln Park and Lawrenceburg. We haven't seen the USAC team since Ocala way back in February. I still hate these big breaks in the schedule. Kyle Cummins tied with Days and Pursley for the championship lead there. Pursley, though, running high limit full-time this season with Boog Motorsports, so likely not a serious threat for the title. Cummins, Pursley, Logan Seavey, Justin Grant, and Bacon all with victories so far in 2025. The USAC weekend then continues on Sunday at Terre Haute with the Silver Crown opener. That one expected to draw north of 30 big girls, as they say. That's going to include the debut of Ricky Thornton Jr. RTJ will be at Farmer City through Saturday in the late model, then move over to Terre Haute on Sunday for that USAC Silver Crown event. In Ohio, as of just a few minutes ago as I write this, the All-Star opener at Attica is rained out. The event will not be made up. And I wonder if this might lead to even an extra team or two heading for Pevely to race with the Outlaws, since all of that stuff in Ohio is sacked. Up next for the All-Stars is Fremont on April 26th. The other options this weekend include the ASCS National Tour there at Salina on Saturday, and then you've got the Mini Gold Cup at Chico. They're going to run 410s both Friday and Saturday, but the Saturday show there is NARC sanctioned. There's also USAC CRA. There's some weekly action around the country. Make sure to check on those weather forecasts. To see everything coming up, a couple of good places for open wheel and sprint car schedules are tjslideways.com or sprintcarratings.com. Both of those guys do a great job keeping up with all of the events going on, not only around the country, but at least in the case of TJ, around the world as well. If you want some big-time super late model action, it looks like most of the traveling teams will be split between the Illini 100 at Farmer City with the World of Outlaws and the Spring Nationals at Lucas Oil Speedway. Bobby Pierce heads to Farmer City as the Outlaw Championship leader with Ryan Gustin and Nick Hoffman tied behind him. I remember earlier this week, too, just a note about Hoffman. He has hired Nathan Sledo, so we'll see if that makes any difference for his team, but just a little bit of added help there for Hoffman and the Ty Twarg team. Pierce and Hoffman actually split the Illini wins a year ago. Pierce won the 2 previous Farmer City races before that. I think it's going to be very difficult to pick against the 32 this weekend. Other names coming in to challenge the series regulars include Ricky Thornton Jr., like I just said. Brandon Shepard will be in the Rocket House car, not the B5, but the Rocket House car. Devin Moran is racing, Garrett Alberson, Tyler Erb, and others. Jimmy Owens is coming in as well. That's going to keep his full-time status intact with the Outlaws as he continues to kind of toe the line between the Outlaws and hunt the front. Farmer City is going to also feature the season debut for the Extreme Outlaw Midgets. Ken McIntosh looking for back-to-back titles with that series. And then at Wheatland, the Spring Nationals pay $7,000 win Friday, $20,000 win on Saturday. This one is unsanctioned this season after previously being a staple on the MLRA calendar. The MLRA, though, no more after 2024, which we've talked about a couple of times. Drivers headed to Wheatland this weekend include a few Lucas Series regulars, Jonathan Davenport, Hudson O'Neill, Carson Ferguson. We also know Kay Dillard will be back in his late model at this one, plus Mike Marlar and Chad Simpson. I'm a bit surprised more Lucas guys aren't hitting this one up, given that the Show Me 100 is next month. Big money on the line there, plus the Diamond Nationals in July. You would think they would want to take advantage and get some laps in, but a lot of them instead choosing to go to Farmer City. Other late model action this weekend includes $50,000 to win for 602s with XR at Fayetteville. This one rescheduled from last year. A number of Southeastern-based teams headed for that one, a lot of big names. There are also unsanctioned super races at Volunteer Speedway and East Alabama. I'm going to be curious to see how those unsanctioned shows do, including Wheatland. It's obviously good for tracks to run unsanctioned in certain cases because they're not paying fees to a series. They're not paying tow money, all of that stuff. But the question then becomes, can they draw enough big-time cars to get fans to come out to the racetrack? The good thing about scheduling those series is you're guaranteed at least a certain number of cars and drivers, and there's people to promote and all of that, which you can then sell to your fans in advance. But the pre-race release for the Spring Nationals, for example, at Lucas Oil just mentions Davenport and Chad Simpson. Is that enough to get fans to buy tickets and watch on Flow Racing? I guess we're going to see. And it makes me wonder why, with no MLRA and a gap in the Lucas schedule right now, why the Spring Nationals didn't just become a third national event for Lucas. The same people own the track and the series after all. And then I have the same unsanctioned event thoughts for Volunteer in East Alabama. Neither of those two tracks have advertised a single driver incoming for their two races on their social media accounts. So can they get people to come out? They're both decent paying shows. I think 10,000 and 12,000 to win. There's a lot of other options around the country. So, we're going to have to wait and see. But unsanctioned, you down for that or not? Let me know what you think. That's the show for this week. To get even more from Dirt Tracker, make sure to check us out on Patreon, Facebook, and TikTok, among others. Fresh content, dirt racing discussions happening all of the time on those platforms, so check those out. Hope you guys have a great Thursday out there and a great weekend. We will see you right back here on Sunday.